Hi everyone, I'm ready for another Beatles Finds video. This is Beatles stuff that I've gotten in recent times that I have yet to show. And I'm going to start by giving a salute to Robert Pfeiffer. He's a person who watches my videos out there, a really generous, kind-hearted guy that's nice enough to be sending me a lot of Beatles stuff. And, you know, after a while, you don't know what else to say except thank you. And I'm going to show you some of the stuff that he sent me, beginning with this 45 that's pressed on 12-inch. It's an item that I'd never seen before. It's an import, as they say. And it's got material on here that came out in 1985. And at the time, this stuff was kind of unusual and kind of rare. Not anymore, but at the time. Side 1 has How Do You Do It, the Beatles version of that. And also has Bad to Me on it, the John Lennon demo of the song that the Beatles didn't record, but they gave away to Billy J. Kramer. And side 2 has a live medley, like some of you may know from the television show Around the Beatles. And at the time, as I say, you know, this was really cool to have. Still cool now, but I mean, I'm talking about as far as rarities go. It was really unusual to have that stuff then. This is a limited pressing, number 57 out of 1,000. It's by Overdone Productions from 1985, and I've come to understand that it was Robert himself that pressed this. Robert put this out back in the day. He's no longer active, but it was on wonderful blue vinyl. Look at that. And as you can see on the label, it's a 45 RPM speed, not 33 1/3. Really a cool novelty type of item to have, and I thank him so much. Thank you, Robert, again. Apparently at the time, Robert was kind of like working with other people, like Dr. Evans, for example, that was in the business of imports. I'm going to show you that's not it. That's not it by a long shot. Now, there were a few packages that I got from Robert, and I'm trying to combine everything into one video here. I should mention there's something that was in the package that I'm not showing in this video because it's a non-Beatles item. It's actually a Beach Boys item, and quite a wonderful Beach Boys item. I'm going to show that in my Vinyl Finds of All Kinds video whenever that pops up. Well, here's what else Beatles related Robert was nice enough to send me. Now, this is something he didn't do himself, but that he found elsewhere and got me a copy of this. It's the Beatles Christmas messages. Now, it didn't come in a jewel case. I found a plastic jewel case, but he gave me all the inserts and whatnot that he had. And this is actually a recording on CD of the recent multi 7-inch record set that came out for Christmas with all the Beatles fan club messages. And this was put together very professional looking. Very nice. He also sent me, over here on the side here, a copy of the original Christmas album cover, which I put inside the case. And get a look at this. Look at that. Doesn't that look wonderful? It looks like, it looks official, right? Official Beatles fan club Christmas messages. And I always need these because around Christmas time, I'm always playing these messages in my car. Okay, on long trips on the holidays. So it's really essential that I have this. Thank you again. It's so wonderful. And also, that's not the end of it. We've got a nice, really high quality CD version of the Beatles Deco editions. And I played multiple tracks on this. Look at that nice label. They sound phenomenal, really among the best I've ever heard. I believe this is a Dr. Ebbets thing. I'm going to save an interesting item for last. After this, I got a couple of things to show you. Now, this is a copy of Japanese Magical Mystery Tour. You can see the little obi thing here. Robert tells me that the actual disc that came with this is not good quality because this is not really official. This is kind of a knockoff. It's a copy version, counterfeit kind of version of the Japanese thing. It's not really good quality. It has a nice booklet. the regular Magical Mystery Tour booklet that we all know. There's a lot of stuff in here, so let me just peruse it. This is the disc that it came with, and he tells me that this is not really a good quality sound, and I take his word for it. So I'm not really going to bother about this. I'll tell you in a minute. The real reason to have it is for this disc that Robert himself made up that has excellent stereo mixes of all the Magical Mystery Tour songs. And he also added 2 songs on the bottom. There you can see Lady Madonna and The Inner Light, which were not on the album, but that fit this kind of period. And I played this in my car. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not just saying this to be a nice guy and to pretend. I'm telling you the truth. I've heard Magical Mystery Tour in my life about, 1,097,000 times. I have never heard the sound quality so phenomenally clear, crisp, excellent, with every single instrument, every breath, every sound perfect. The version of I Am the Walrus is like never before, among many other tracks on this. And I am just really impressed at how he put this stuff together. The stereo quality is out of this world. Okay. Now, continuing on here. The screen just went on. Okay, put that down. He also sent these. These are a couple of just items to hang up. You could just hang them up or stick them on the wall. There's Velcro on the back. Just pretty cool Apple and Capital designs just to showcase around here. And here's another item that he sent me. I'm still not done. It's just like almost 7 minutes into this, and I'm still just talking about Robert. This was really amazing. Okay, now, this is the Beatles live at the Star Club in Hamburg, Germany. The material we all know, that was released in 1977. Okay? Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this material. I know a lot of Beatle fans are not really that big on this, but this is an amazing 2 CD set and a DVD that comes with it. The DVD has a phenomenal audio on it from the show, and also a video section here, which has, I watched all the video already, and I was knocked out by it because the DVD has footage that I've never seen of King Size Taylor, who was responsible. He used to play, in Hamburg and with the other acts. King Size Taylor, who had a tape recorder, he's the one who recorded, I guess, and saved this stuff, if I remember the history correctly. It's due to him that we have this recording at all. But there's a 1972 segment in here interviewing not just King Size Taylor, but also Alan Williams, who was the Beatles manager at the time, who got them to Hamburg. And it's fascinating for diehard Beatle fans, because I've never seen that footage before. It's an interview with them from '72, where they have the tapes of this, and they're trying to peddle the tapes, and they're trying to say how they want to be millionaires, and it would be great. They'd never be able to figure out what to spend the money on, and how important this is to the Beatles' legacy, and what the surviving Beatles think of them putting this out. And I never knew that existed before, and for that alone, this is amazing. But while I'm still on the topic of this release here, I knew that a few years ago, a copy of Live at the Star Club came out on CD, which was said to have enhanced quality. Now, how can you get that much enhanced quality at a really inferior sounding audio cassette? What are you going to do? I've heard a lot of this already, and it sounds better than I've ever heard these before. Somehow, the sounds, the singing and everything was brought up to the front. If this is what I'm thinking it is, now maybe I'm talking ass backwards here. I mean, this sounds better than I've ever heard it before, but I remember a few years ago, and this was released in 2015, so that would be a few years ago, there was a title of this coming out again where they supposedly cleaned them up even more. I never bothered getting it at the time. This may be it. So if this is it, I'm so thrilled to have this. And they really did a good job here, the way they put, I'm trying to read all the, and the Rebel, I'm reading everything, King Size Taylor and the Dominoes. I'm just reading like the way they put them in the order, the song orders and stuff like that. I just think it's fantastic, and thank you again. Now, that's already 9 minutes spent on that, so I'm going to try to hustle through the rest of this. Here's some other stuff I've got Beatles related recently. I got a copy of this, which I've never seen this one before. I don't think. Got a little writing on it. 45, the capital star line. Do you want to know a secret on one side? Thank you, girl, on the other side. And I always love these green, minty green capital star lines. But, you know, I always see the one with Misery on it, Roll Over Beethoven, and so forth. But I don't think I ever really saw this one, so I was happy to get this. Okay, now, before we go back to records, I want to show you some memorabilia I got. Here we have the Ringo Silkie. I got a Paul version of this. They only made Paul and Ringo. They didn't make John or George. And you can see up there on my shelf, there's a red suited Paul up there. I got that at the Beatles Fest. Well, now I finally got a hold of the Ringo. There's a little bit of a little dot there on his chin. I was debating whether or not I should touch it up a little bit with proper paint or not, or just leave it alone. I think I'm going to leave it alone the way it is. Considering the kind of shape you find these in sometimes, this one is not bad. And again, very happy to add this to my collection. Also, in the same vein, I got a hold of this. It's a Paul McCartney original 1960s Remco doll. And as you can see there, he's got the bass guitar. It's hard to find these all the time with the instruments. And this box, by the way, is not original. This box is a fake box. It's a counterfeit box. You can see it's kind of like, you know, light colored and not really, you know, standing out. So there it is. I'm not going to take it out of the box because, you know, I did that already and it was a pain getting it back in. But it's in good shape. The hair is good on this because I actually have one of these in Paul. But for anybody who's seen it before, the hair is really sticking up, and it's almost like somebody tried to cut the hair with a scissors or something. So I'm glad to get this. I'm going to get the other ones the same way, which is going to be a feat in itself. So I'll get around to that. Now, I'm going to show some more records. This time we're going to show 12-inch 33s. We got the Beatles' second album. This is in the shrink wrap. You can see it's got the Gold Award label on there, Gold Record Award, and that means that it's not an original. I picked it up because it's an Apple version, and you know, I think in the very early 70s, the Apple versions were among the first that I remember getting a lot of times for these. So to have a nice copy of this on Apple, you know, it was a good thing. Now, I don't really like to go around collecting every single variation. There's so many different labels and pressings on these. You know, where do you draw the line, right? Well, the condition was so good, the price was so right, I went for it. Okay, last item I'm going to show here. If you watched a recent live video that I shot a few weeks ago at the record store, somebody came in with a bunch of junky records, and this was one of the records that was in the pile. You know, not in great shape, but I'd never seen this before. You know, Beatlemania, you know, in the USA by the Liverpools. And on this particular album with this green cover, which is unique, I don't remember seeing it, they do some Beatles songs, and they do it rather poorly, but I'm a completist when it comes to collecting all kinds of Beatles-related stuff. So they do She Loves You, they do I Want to Hold Your Hand, they do I Saw Her Standing There, and they do Please Please Me, and the rest of the album is other type of, you know, Mersey beat kind of 60s British kind of rock and roll sounding stuff. And I thought the label was kind of interesting, this orange label. I can't even pronounce it. Wincoat? I don't know. That's the label. I thought that was kind of unusual. So, anyway, I thank everybody for watching. I kept this under 15 minutes, which is a surprise in itself. Thanks again to Robert for his generosity and thinking of me. And he wants his stuff to go to a good home, and I appreciate his thoughts. So, everybody, see you soon, huh? Take care.